Well, happy Monday. Oh my goodness, it's the beginning of the week, and I'm honored and delighted and thrilled to be with you always. I am Joy Ruffin, and this is Joyful Mondays. My work is as a leadership and style consultant, a signature style specialist, speaker, executive producer, TV host, and podcaster. And every week now going forward, I'll be bringing you a featured guest speaker, and we'll bring them on a little bit after the reset. But for now, it'll be a topic that you're going to love and enjoy. I know it. And this is about the power of style, how you can master it for you. Well, isn't that what everyone wants to do? You want to find your individuality and your uniqueness and that special quality that you have. So let's talk about, and I always start off with a quote. And if I didn't say it, I'm going to say it again. Welcome. It's always great to see you here. We enjoy good company. Here's a quote that's kind of fitting. Style is very personal. It has nothing to do with fashion. Fashion is over quickly. Style is forever. Love that, Ralph Lauren, because it's so true. We can't get caught up in somebody else's vibe. We have to discover, develop, and design our own. So the other one that connects to that is style. All who have it have one thing. I just spoke to this in a different way, originality. And that was said by Diana Verlin, who was at many years ago, many moons ago. I don't even remember the chief, whatever, of Vogue and Harper's Bazaar, which one or the other. I don't remember. But that's so true. Originality, whatever it is for you. And when you have it, you don't follow the mode. You don't stay in the same circle that everybody else is doing. Like everybody's running around looking the same. No, not you. You want to find the power of what fits you. And whatever it is, it'll be yours and unique to you. Most women and men love fashion. And my friends, did you know that still, even today, that the majority of fashion designers, when you do the percentage, it's men. Men design for us. What happened? Why aren't we doing more? Well, let me tell you my little story. You love stories? My original was to be a fashion designer. But then my first year at the Fashion Institute, one of the instructors said to me, Joy, I don't think, towards the end of the first year, I think you'd be better off, because I couldn't draw. I could drape like a banshee, but I couldn't draw. She said, I think you'd be better off being in the fashion buying and merchandising circle because you have such a keen eye for blah, 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 blah. So I'm thinking about it. I'm saying, I want to be a designer. But then I'm thinking, you know what? You got to be real here. Honesty with yourself. I love it, but I can't draw. And drawing the pictures and so on, that's a big part of it. Now, there are still designers here who can't do it. But I'm thinking, knowing me, that's not going to work. So then I switched over. And that's why it was one of the best moves, because I became one of the first female Black buyers in the Big Apple, New York City. So it was a great move. So I say all of that to say that here we are seeking the discerning 3 to 5 percentile of those women who really will appreciate unique style and seek a signature style that's indigenous to them, whatever that is. But it has to be your signature, personal and indigenous to you. And then you begin to flow and to move with it. And everybody, most everyone, because it's never everyone, everybody, anybody, anyone. Each and every person can do this or wear this. No. That's what they do on the online shopping. And I just spoke to my future guest speaker, and we're saying that's what they do. Their business, they're promoting, and they're good. You have to be better. You have to find the power of style for you and master it for you, whatever that is. If it's casual, let it be casual, but kick it up a notch. If it's chic, be elegant and sophisticated. If it's dramatic, add that little dash of whatever it is for you. Find whatever that is. If it's sporty, if it's romantic, if it's whatever classification category it's in, you make it you. That's what we're all about here. And that's how you become the leader that you're going to be, because leadership is lacking and missing today. So we are here to be about transformation. Ooh, we're going to be talking about transformation. And transformation begins inside. Head to toe, top to bottom, hair to shoes, everything about you has to emanate from who you are and showcase who you are. And you do that. I'm not talking about the runway, the red carpet. I'm talking about your style and you. And this is where we are somehow lagging behind, but we're in the process of finding our way and getting our wings, because simplicity is the keynote to all true elegance. No matter whether you're casual or dressy, you want to make sure it's you. You want to be comfortable and stylish. And you can do that no matter what your style category might be. And the key and the secret is to find out what that is for you. Most everyone is familiar with Iris Arpel. I mention her all the time because I love that lady. I never met her, but she was a little bit on the woo, but yet she was original. She had her look and her style, and it fit her to the T. Not anyone probably could mimic what she did, but she brought so many exciting, interesting pieces, styles, accessories into the fold. And what you do is find out which ones fit you, that are designed and developed for you in a way that complements and enhances your style. That's what it's all about. This woman, if you're not familiar with her, Google her. I like Dr. Google, Mr. and Mrs. Google, University Google, however you want to call it, because that's what it's all about. Finding out what's best for you. It's not being afraid to make mistakes, because they're going to be made. You walk through that closet and you're going, find a way to walk through and gradually weed out what doesn't fit you. And there's so many ways that we can do that. And there's so many ways that I can help you with that. And we're on the road to getting there for you now. Now, my friends, I tell you, my guest, I want to bring her up because, not now, after the reset, because her background fascinates me and the work that she's doing fascinates me. She has her own style and her own rhythm and flow of what she does. But what I want you to do right here and now is just sit back and let me share with you my reset, which I'm going to be talking about my group, Leading Ladies, Leaving Legacies. This is a Facebook group that we started off minuscule numbers, and now we're escalating up, and that's because of you. And we want you to come in and join us and be a part of it, because we want to receive and help you in your vision, your mission, and your purpose. We want to help celebrate and acknowledge you and your divine femininity. And that's what this group is all about. So please come and join us. And you know, I'm always talking about know thyself. Head to toe, top to bottom, hair to shoes, everything about you, and to be honest. So that's why I'm delivering to you this freebie, Designing You. It's from Human Design, because it's your time to go on a treasure hunt. Because even if you think you know everything about you, there's so much more that you probably can discover if you stay open. And what we attempt to do always here is remain open in that perennial learning mode. And that freebie will offer you an awful lot of good things. Now, the other thing I want to show is my guest. I want to show her graphic, because this lady, what we're going to do is ask you to take a screenshot, take a snapshot, and then I'm going to bring her up in a second. And I want you to be aware, and we'll bring this up again towards the end so that you can see more about what she's about. Now, let me share with you a little bit about her. Karen Rudolph is my featured guest speaker today. She is a transformative life strategist, a super stress reducer. I love that. And a 4 times international best-selling author. Oh my God, Karen has so much more that we're going to share with you. But for now, I could go on and on, you know that. But I just want you to sit back and get comfortable, whatever that is to you. Comfort is in the mode now. It's in the mainstream. But get comfortable and sit back and help me welcome our featured guest speaker, Karen Rudolph. Karen, come on up.
Hello. Oh, Joy. Thank you for having me, and hello to all your guests.
Oh my God, I'm honored to have you here. I'm delighted to have you here again, because I am repetitive. I love the work that you're doing, because it's all about transformation, and you're helping people to reduce stress and all this other good stuff. And I know because of our last time together that you started off as a nurse, and now you've transformed onto entrepreneurial, doing your own type of thing. So I want to hear a little bit about your background, about how you got into the work that you're doing now. Share with us a little bit about that.
Oh, God. Well, most recently, well, it's not really most recent. It's ongoing, right? It's always the experience, the journey.
Yes.
And we just keep expanding and expanding from that journey. But I remember more so dealing with stress. My mother was on 19 medications, and I found her on the floor. And I was raising my children at the time, and I was going through a divorce. And I said, the buck stops here. not on my watch. She was curled up in a fetal position. I didn't see my mother on the floor. I saw a little girl who was wanting to be seen, not enough, not heard, not loved. And I thought, no, not on my God bumps. I said, not on my watch. And then fast forward during the course of my divorce, my hair, I have thick hair, and it was coming out in clumps. And I was stressing. I was in fear. I was a people pleaser. Um, I uh, I just didn't know which direction I was going. And then all of a sudden, I stopped and I paused, and I said, "Dang, I'm my girls. I have three daughters. I'm my
Yes.
first advocate, their first go-to. What am I teaching them by being, this wishy-washy victim, of a person?" And I'm like, no, 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 I'm going to change. And I started getting involved with a lot of personal growth and development, started a lot of training. I studied quantum physics, neuroscience. I couldn't get enough information. I could step
Ooh.
world of creativity. So I am a creative problem solver. And I studied world religion because I was so busy looking for something
Mhm.
outside of myself until I realized the common thread amongst most and all religions that I've studied is compassion. Well, compassion starts within, right?
That's a
So
great point.
I began going within. So as of late, I've been with a lot of clients that I've been talking to that are on the verge or have been on the verge of burnout. And I'm like, why would you go for a medication for an instant? It was like my mother looking for that instant band-aid. And
Yes,
I
yeah.
the doctors weren't getting to the root cause. So I've made it a journey to start looking for the root cause of a lot of the conditions that we have out there, and allow you to realize that you have a choice, right? There are times when you need the medical and the Western medicine, but there's also a holistic approach. And often it's just something as simple as shifting your story, shifting your self perception, your belief systems, and really empowering yourself to empower others, thus your leadership.
Oh my God. I love that. Karen, you could not have expressed that more profound, the brilliance of how you delivered that. And what you started off with, you studied all the religions and you found that the underlying foundation was compassion. That is so powerful. And then your mother on the floor and all the different medications. Oh my goodness. I'm dealing with that somewhat myself. I know that's such a great story about how you came to do the work that you do, and the burnout and the stress and the people that you and the choice that we all have. I love that. Tell us, how are you supporting people and transforming all of this? Intro about what you do was absolutely spot on. Transforming stress into strength. What are some tips and guidelines that you can share with us?
Well, one of the things that I teach within the realm of the chrysalis effect or the chrysalis solution, because
Uh huh.
my company name is Tranquil Solutions, so there's always a soul somewhere in there, because I come from a holistic vantage point, holistic with a W,
Yes.
because we
Yes.
are whole people, whole, complete, perfect right here, right now. Well, when I look at my clients, I look at the mental, the emotional, physical, and spiritual. So I look at all of that and I come together with that. So one of the things that I'm teaching right now to my clients is something I developed, which is called the butterfly technique.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. And if we look at butterflies, for me, butterflies, to a lot of people, represent transformation. But if you
Mm-hmm.
look at them in nature and you just look at them, they're carefree and they're light and there's no stress to them, right? They
No.
move with ease and they're beautiful. And I started looking at that because I always look to nature. And I thought, wow, if I look at the cocoon phase of a caterpillar, it's what translates to is stopping. It's becoming aware. Pause. Hit the pause button. That's the cocoon
Yes.
phase, right?
Yes.
What does a butterfly do? It cocoons, it pauses, and it regenerates itself within the cocoon. So taking a momentary stop. even in this very moment, and you just stop and pause, right? When things start getting out of hand, where is the energy coming from? Is it really yours? Is it serving you? Is it something that you're making mean something that really it's not? And we pause, we allow ourselves to oxygenate the brain long enough to create clarity, right? So once you get into that phase, you're able to recognize and halt the stressors right there in its tracks, and then choose to change it, which becomes the metamorphosis phase. Metamorphosis, right? Phase, right? Which is all about change. And, while the butterfly is in the cocoon, it's changing. You can change instantly by the drop of a dime in the moment, right?
I that was a great description. And because the majority of people do think of the butterfly as transformation, but the way that you described it, Karen, is so beautifully put for all of us to embrace, because the ease and the lightness and the beauty of the butterfly and the originality, because no two are the same, is what's mesmerizing and fascinating as well. And yet the process of this word change is unnerving to so many people. But the
Absolutely.
way that you describe that, the process and the end results, brilliant, beautiful. How do you get, I heard you say that it's the pause, and that's how you regenerate. And I think so many times we're on that treadmill,
Yeah.
it's hard to take that pause. How do you get them to know or to realize that it is time to pause? It is time to breathe and whatever that
Right.
might be.
So what happens, I mean, think about in life, right? We get behind the car and all of a sudden we're rushing we're in
Mhm.
a community of rushers, right? Where everything is like, we want an instant gratification.
Yes.
We're so busy, 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 busy that we forget to be still. We forget to pause, and then everything escalates and then becomes overwhelm. And then the overwhelm creates anxiety. Well, anxiety is about a future that you have no control over.
Yes.
Right? Depression's about the past that is in the past. So what I do with my clients is we really go through a self discovery session where
Uh-huh.
it's really getting to the core of it. Shakespeare wrote in Hamlet in 1833, I believe it was, or 1633 rather, to thine own self be true. The more you know yourself, the
Oh,
more you know others. The more you know yourself, you know how to shift the energy, because you can start identifying with practice. It's like going to the gym. The more you go to the gym, the more you're going to master it. And this is where mastery comes in, right? It's not it doesn't just happen overnight. You have
no.
to practice.
Nothing does, Karen. Yet we are now, you know this as well or more than I, that we are in the Insta society. Most everyone, because we don't pause, we don't step back and take a moment to reflect and then move forward. We're in the Insta where we want everything overnight, blah, 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 and we don't know how to do that. And only when you do that are you going to be able to embrace your authentic self. Is that not so?
Absolutely. And that's the goal, is to really get in touch with your authentic self. It takes something. It doesn't happen overnight. And I mean, I didn't know what I didn't know until I hired mentors. I have coaches. I actually have two coaches right now,
Mm-hmm,
working on
mm-hmm.
a third. And, because they all lift and support me in different areas, and everybody has their strengths. You have your
Exactly.
strength, you have your gift, and not everybody has your gift, but when you bring like minds together,
Yes.
each other. And that's what I love about, number one, a mastermind, and number two, my coach. I'm always learning. I caught myself yesterday in a space where it was like, oh, Karen, I know this stuff. And instead of making myself bad and wrong, it was just like the awareness. I get to
Yes.
choose to shift it. And I shifted it immediately, and it brought peace to my heart.
I hear you loud and clear. I have people too that I know support me in my own continuing evolvement. And sometimes you do catch yourself with that negative kind of, and then you have to know how to get out or to talk to somebody about it. That's major, because we're not going to get to our authentic self, or no, and it's a journey. It never ever ends, but you keep climbing, you keep
Exactly.
escalating and scaling up, up, up. And so you
Exactly.
go from there. My friend Rudy says, finding your authentic self is so much easier said than done. Authentic self
Only
is
if you
somebody
say so. Only if you say so, Rudy.
say, oh,
Ford says, if you think it's so, it's going to be so, right?
oh, Karen, this is a longtime friend of mine, and I know what he's saying. But I think one of the reasons that so many people hesitate, and I know you know this for sure, to make this change and to transition to what would be better for them is that unknown and not knowing, and that word change, shift, transformation is really more or less all the same. So I really understand what you're saying. And Rudy, thank you for coming and sharing. But how do we elevate? What is elevating success for solopreneurs? How do we go about those of us who are working online, who are doing networking and doing all these different things? How do we get that empowerment to embrace our strength and our strengths and knowing who we are? How do we go about that?
It always, always, always starts with awareness. So one of the first things I do with my clients is they sign their agreement with me. We have a relationship agreement. I don't even have a contract because words are energy. Words create your reality.
Yes.
So what you think about, you bring about. So I'm really big into the energetics of it. So I bring embodiment work to the table as well. So we unlock potential. We work on sustainable successes. Looking at the habits, shifting the habits, and the more you do it, the more you articulate it, the more you master it.
Yes.
So one of the things that I'm offering actually tomorrow night is a masterclass which is all about shifting all of these things in Wings of Growth. It's called Elevating Success for Solopreneurs, and it says 7 p.m. Eastern. And I'm going to talk about all these points tomorrow and give you some tips and tricks and strategies to start unlocking that potential, creating it sustainably. Because when you have the power of choice and you stop giving your power away, that's when things start shifting.
Yes, I completely agree. And then 2 points I want to share with you here. First off is that I think I'm going to share with you what Rudy had to say here. He said, what advice do you have for someone who wants to embark on that journey and doesn't have the resources to hire expensive coaches? Just curious. And hi, Rudy, good to see you here. But that's something to think about because let me ask you this, Karen, because this I know, any good coach will find a way to work with you to compensate for your budget, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And if they don't, then that's not the coach for you. Because
Right.
if you really are stressed or you're in a position where the money isn't there and yet you want something and it's offered, you'll find a way or other resources. Is that not so? Just
That
to
is,
address
yeah,
this question.
yeah, yes, and,
And,
right,
and, mhm.
right. So, I heard a great quote from Tony Robbins today,
Oh,
and it was about, let me see if I got the, actually I jotted it down because it was like I
good.
had never heard it before. And I'm one of these people that keep it until
Uh-huh.
when we're setting a goal, right? It's easy to win and hard to lose, but
Mm,
most people think in the space of loss. So already you're blocking the energy by saying that it's too expensive. Right? There are always ways and means, and when you ask, the universe supplies, right? So there are many, many ways of doing that. And coming to a complimentary session and even getting a tidbit is putting your toe in the water and getting a, a foot into what's possible. And once you start practicing even that little thing, even to this day, I still grab master classes. I'll jump on people's master classes because I don't know what I don't know until I start learning it and saying, well, let me try it on, right? I think of Joseph in the Amazing Coat, right? And I put it on, put it on. Oh, it's too tight. No, I'll take this one off. It doesn't work for me. But this one feels really good. Well, how can I
yes.
make this work? So knowing that this is feels good, it always gets down to the feeling energetically to align with universe, spirit, and law of attraction. So what does that feel like to you? Does it feel like you want to expand the abundance or you want to contract it?
Karen, thank you for that absolutely heartwarming description of how you explain that. Because I myself am just coming to this realization of and knowing it, but not applying it. Now I'm implementing. When you think that maybe this is not for me or it's out of my budget, it's out of my range, you have to recalibrate, reprogram everything here because it is in your wheelhouse. You find a way and you ask the universe for guidance, and it
Yeah.
will come.
Absolutely. I remember one day somebody saying to me, Joy, and I was in my head because the course that I really wanted to take was $25,000. And I
Yeah,
was a single
yes.
mom. And I'm thinking, oh my God, this like, and they said to me, if it were your child,
Mm-hmm.
right, and they were in an emergency, would you come up with the cash? And I went without a doubt.
Yes.
And I was able to come up with that $25,000, rocked out in the course. That was like the biggest thing I ever took. I was so grateful I did it. Right.
Yeah, I've been there and I've done that too, so I know. But I understand Rudy's a question because so many of us, and I was there, and every now and then I have to check and rethink what I'm thinking because it's negative, and I want to take the high road all the time. But the work that you're doing, this transformative, this transformational, this having people pivot and shift, it's not easy, but you're asking them to change. And the question that I have for you, when they come, are they really, how do you have to probe with them to get to the honesty of what the real situation might be? Because a lot of times people skirt through what the real issue might be.
Absolutely. But again, I've been trained. So
Yes,
I'm
yes,
able to see between the lines, and they
yes.
think they want this, but what they're really asking for is this. And I never make them bad or wrong. I meet them where they're at. Not only do I meet them where they're at, but I create, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change.
Mm-hmm.
So I create different scenarios for them to see it because we all learn differently, right? I'm a
Mm-hmm.
visual learner. So for me, there are often people who are kinesthetic. There are people that are auditory. So depending where they're at, I meet them where they are and I speak to them there. And there's never any forcing anything. It's like, what's possible in this space? Like,
Mm-hmm.
what if, right, is a question I always ask. What
Mm-hmm.
if this would that feel good for you? Would that work for you? Would it not work for you? Like, so it's more of the self-discovery
Yes.
going to make the difference. So I like to consider myself a journey guide. I'm your guide along your journey. It's your journey, not mine. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not telling you how to do it. I'm making suggestions that feel good for you to take it on. Change isn't easy. I mean, I was a people pleaser. I was self-righteous. I was like all of that. But yet when I realized it wasn't really serving me, it took practice, but you have to identify it, and sometimes the truth hurts.
Well, when you mentioned that you're a journey guide, that's a good way. I've never heard that before. Journey guide, not a guide on a journey guide. I like that. Let me say, the time flies here. I don't say this every week, it goes so quickly, but I want my engineer to put up your graphic, and I want you to talk with us a little bit about that, and then give us your parting words, and it'll be time to say goodbye, and we'll scoot you back to the green room. But she's going to put up your graphic, and then you can tell us a little bit about this, Karen.
Yeah, this is a checklist. I decided to do a little something different, and it's a checklist. It's pretty common everyday kind of stuff, but we forget who
Hmm.
we are, and we forget that it can be pausing. This the stop, change, shift, the butterfly technique can be so as simple as just pausing and taking a 5-minute meditation. It could be going outside and walking in nature. So it's just a reminder to remind yourself who you are, what you are, and why you're here. And this way it brings you back into embodiment of who you believe yourself to be.
I love that. I love that. And most of us really love checklists and puzzles and quizzes and that type of thing. So that's great. Karen, thank you for coming back. And I hope you'll come back again and again. I love listening to you. I love learning from you. And the work that you do, I will always be celebrating and applauding you because it's so needed and you do it so well. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure. And thank you to your listening audience.
Oh, bless your heart. Bless your heart. That said, the time is gone. It's over. May I say this to you? I always say the same. Much love from my heart to your heart. Embrace it and make this one of the best weeks ever. Enjoy and go with some of what Karen shared with us. Keep that mindset and that outlook on life high and vibrating at its highest vibration. And that way we'll be able to attain ultimately whatever it is that we want because we're asking for divine guidance. Friends, all the best. Much love. Cheers.